Now, I'll just briefly run you through how it's going to work. Stuart has kindly gone through his library. And I don't think he's gone through every single photo, but he's got a library of around 700,000 to 1 million
it's something like that,
images.
When I was asked to find the best 10 from 35 years, it took me about 2 weeks. So I've got a few. I've missed out quite a few. So
yeah. So we're going to go through them one by one. We'll talk through the moments, the stories around them. This is Mikel Arteta doing one of his team talks, I'm guessing, Stuart.
Yeah, so you've obviously seen from All or Nothing a lot of the stuff that he does, which is quite unique. He's not just sit around and chat. His speeches are incredible, and some of his ideas he has to motivate the players are absolutely incredible. I've been in the dressing room. Players have been in tears afterwards, after some of the stuff he said about himself and his family and the club and how much the
before a match
means to him. Yeah,
really,
just that emotional and about how much the club means to him and how much the supporters mean to him. So this is one of those. We had a phone call a couple of hours before the game. Mikel wants a giant flag for the changing room, so myself and Mark Brindle went into the flag cupboard at the stadium, kicking the rats out the way, trying to drag flag out that would fit. And we had it on the floor when the players came in. And I'm not going to go into what he said, but it was about how high is your level, And it's just this has not been published before.
It's quite spectacular, isn't it? I've got to say, very unusual. I've seen some unusual team talks.
I just think with him, and I think that probably the same with Guardiola, to have that amount of energy and that creative mind to think of all these different things every single game. It's not the same as every single game. There's something different that he'll think of.
Yeah, it's he's innovative. I suppose you've got to keep the players' minds engaged, haven't you? You can't just be same old.
Well, what was your team talks when you?
Well, they were much more basic, I would suggest, than Mikel Arteta's.
Like break that player's leg.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I once got told to step on Duncan Ferguson's toes at throw-ins by Bruce Rioch, which, if any of you are old enough to remember Duncan Ferguson, will know that I really didn't want to do that. So, yeah, I kind of pretended I did do it once, and he was like, "What are you doing, you little shit?" Like that, I don't think I was much of a threat to Duncan, so it's a big dunk. But yeah, this is a fantastic image. It's from the Southampton game, isn't it? We did concede inside the first minute of that game.
I think they were still standing on the chairs when we.
What's it like being inside that dressing room on a match day? Are you there every week, or are you just there for special occasions? How much of a privilege? Because I know that you're a big gooner yourself.
Yeah.
You must be sort of pinch yourself moments quite often when you're in there listening to the gaffer.
Most games I'll be in there when the team arrive, but then I know what's private, so I'll leave the moment that I think Mikel's going to come in. So there's a lot of stuff that I shoot that I'll just keep for an archive for, say, in a few years' time if we do a book or something like that. So there's a lot of stuff that's unseen. Team talks I won't stay in, but I probably could, because I'm just sort of part of the furniture, really. Bit of like an old sofa. But it is a privilege, and you do have to sort of pinch yourself sometimes. And there's a couple of games where he sent someone out of the dressing room to get me into the dressing room, because he wanted me to be involved in or to be part of that. And I think that's quite unique, certainly amongst photographers, because I know photographers aren't really trusted by football clubs. Well, external, because of how you can stitch people up.
But trust within a football dressing room is huge anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think when I started, I was the same age as the players. Now I'm older than the players' parents. So, and they sort of treat me as like some of the boys have come asked me about the club and what the club was like at Highbury and bits like that. So there's quite a lot of respect, and it's a great group as well. This group is an incredible group of people, very humble. Good, great players, great people. Yeah.
Just another quick one before we move on. On Mikel's team talks, when you're in there, does he have just this playbook of unique team talks ahead of games and whatnot? Because a lot of people were thinking, he's sort of jazzing it up a little bit for the documentary here, with the stuff at the training ground and whatnot. Or is he genuinely one of these managers that just comes up with something new all the time?
I don't think the documentary for him. he thought about the cameras being in there. Everything he does, I don't go in every game, but I've been in for quite a few, and everyone has been completely different. And I think it's just the mood or what he just comes up with. He's so intelligent. I'm around. When a player signs, I'm one of the first people they meet. So they're used to me. I get introduced as, he's been here for, which is embarrassing, 30 odd years. Yeah, so they don't really take any notes of me. And the worst thing for me is when the players walk into the dressing room, generally they come up and try and shake your hand. And I'm like, no, I need to try and be natural. But it's privileged. It's a great place for me to get some lovely pictures. But sometimes it's a hindrance because they will come and talk to you when you think, I want to step back a little bit and do my work. So, yeah, but it's a wonderful situation to be in for me.
On the new player signings, obviously you're in a privileged position there because you've got a heads up that we've got an announcement to make. Do you know who you're going to photograph before, or has there been a time where you literally didn't know who they were? You
generally know. The only one we didn't know was Sol Campbell's. So, because I used to be, when we used to have our signings open to all the media, I used to phone all the photographers up to say, like the guy from the Sun and the Mail and stuff, we've got a signing today. So I remember driving from home on my mobile, just trying to steer with my elbow, phoning up all the photographers, say, look, we've got a signing, can't tell you who it is. And they're like, oh, it's Richard Wright, we don't need to come up there. And I got to Colney, Sean O'Connor met me at the gates. He opened the window, he said, it's Sol Campbell. And I was like, no, me, no chance. And I was just laughing. So I remember they said to me, go to Arson's office. So I stood in the corridor outside Arson's office, the door opened, and this huge man, Sol Campbell, walked out. And I was like, hell. And I just started laughing. Sol just looked at me like, who's this idiot? So I didn't have a camera. I was just laughing.
Oh, no. That was a great moment.
It was. I think it's the last big surprise.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen anymore. It's such a shame.
So this is an absolute beauty, of course. Talk us through this one then, Stuart, because it's an unusual position. I would have thought us lifting the...
No, I'm here.
Oh, you're here?
I'm there.
Well, how did you take it?
Bottom, I got bottom right. So we have a remote control, it's called a Pocket Wizard.
Brilliant.
Works on radio waves. So before the game, I climbed up onto the old TV gantry, bolted a camera in place. We knew we'd had a rehearsal for the trophy presentation, so you know where it's going to be. So you bolt your camera in, pre-focus on where the trophy lift's going to be. And that was the days of film where you only had 36 pictures on a roll, whereas now you've got 5,000 pictures on a digital camera. So then you wait for the moment and pray that the radio waves in the stadium fire. And that was just a lovely... And it's always one of my favourites because it just shows Highbury. It shows where the proximity of all the houses. And I think they said we had over 1,000 extra people bunked in and got into the
really?
roof. They said the roof moved a metre when the trophy went up because it was moving so much.
Wow. What I love about this image is the symmetry of the hands. All the hands going up in the, on the pitch and also off the pitch at the same time. It's a beauty.
I love the idea that I didn't even have to press the button on the camera to get the picture, which feels so lazy.
Is that something you'd done when we'd won the league?
A lot of photographers use these remote cameras, but they don't always work. They really hit or miss. I put cameras on the roof at Emirates and walked up 2 hours after the game to pick the camera up and find out it's not fired anything. I thought I'd just throw the camera off the roof. But they are hit or miss, but I was just quite lucky on that day.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a few questions about the Invincibles year. What was it like being a part of it? Who were the big characters? Who did you really like? What can you tell us about that season?
Patrick, Dennis. It was just a brilliant group. And someone asked me about this the other day, and even the draw at Man United after that, I just thought we're not going to lose a game here. I honestly did think that, and used to go to games and just look at the team and think, no one's going to beat us, apart from the Champions League and the FA Cup, obviously. But they were such a... I remember I was in a tunnel one year. We used to have halfway up the tunnel, there's a little room called the Halfway House, which you remember.
Yeah.
And I remember you could stand in there on a wide-angle camera and photograph the players coming down the tunnel. Can't remember who we played, but the captain came down, and you could hear the sounds of the studs on the steps. It was unbelievable. Sound, So I stood there with my little wide angle in this little room looking out onto, and the captain was going, let's fucking give it to these lot first 10 minutes. We're 4-0 up after 15 minutes. As soon as our lot walked down, they were looking up at Patrick Vieira and they were looking up at Thierry, and they were beaten in the tunnel. I wasn't very bright at school, not very good at football. I studied fine art, and I wanted to be a painter. And then realised you can't make any money in it, and had a real big interest in photography, and really just wanted to be a black and white printer for all the sort of big creative photographers. And then I saw an ad in a British Journal of Photography, and it was black and white printer for a photo agency in Islington. And I thought, well, that's good. So went for an interview, got the job, and then a year later, we had a phone call from Arsenal asking for some pictures for a programme. I don't know if anyone remembers, we played France in a friendly. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So they phoned I picked the phone up. They said it's Arsenal Football Club, we'd like some pictures for our match day programme. Sent them the pictures. The following season they were looking for a new agency to start working with them, and they had my number, they called me, and the relationship started from there really. And when they were looking to build a new stadium, they wanted to have a full-time guy in there working for them, and it was just a natural thing. They asked me because they trusted me. And I remember my first day as a full-time member of staff, I got introduced to Arsene Wenger, and he said, yeah, but we know Stuart. So it sort of started like that. It's luck, right place, right time, really, for me. So I thought of my small selection, I should put an action picture in, because that's what football's all about. So there's no reason apart from it's quite a nice picture and it's against Chelsea. And this is what sports photographers are generally, well, you want a great action picture, and that's what you want at the end of your season in your portfolio. So that was the idea. And it was, I got one and thought, okay, that's fine. So this is why I put it in, because I thought it's a lovely picture.
What's it like working with Gabriele Martinelli?
He's very quick.
Tries to get away from you.
I think we're in such a unique position where we sit on the pitch that I think when you watch football at home, you don't actually, up in the stands, you don't actually realise how quick these guys are. So when you're at that level, you don't get to see the game. The perspective is so flat, so you don't get to see the gaps. I speak to friends after the game. Why did he do this? I can't even see it. But they are quick. I mean, from when you played, the speed of the game now it's
quickened up massively. So you're looking at the game through your lens a lot of the time.
Yeah. Once the ball goes over the halfway line, the other side, at the other end, you look. But once they come over the halfway line, you try and predict where the ball's going to go.
Yeah.
So you try and think, and it's lucky. We have a certain way of playing, so you think. If it was Stoke, you'd know exactly where the ball was going to go. But
so when you snap, you snap it away, he scores the goal. At what point do you think, I wonder what I got there? Like, are you instantly checking whether you've got any worldy pictures?
Well, when we first started, it was all on film, so it wasn't until you got back to the office or got back into the stadium that you process your film. So you might not look at a picture until see a picture for maybe 6 or 7 hours after the game. But now it's immediate. As soon as you take a picture, you press the button on the back of the camera and it's there, and then we transmit straight away. So you don't really look at it on a laptop screen. Picture, there's the best goal, picture, there's the best celebration. You press a voice caption on the back of the camera. You say Arsenal 7 scores against Tottenham or whatever it is, and then you press a transmit button and it goes to an office which gets edited. We syndicate all our pictures through Getty Images. So from the moment the picture's taken to the moment it appears on their news feed could be 2 minutes. So it's so quick now. That's amazing. After the game we go back and re-edit.
Yeah. So you're instantly checking. the whole way
It's a
through.
bit scary for an old person like me to be doing that. Some of the technology are sort of holding the, oh my God, what am I doing?
Yeah, there's enough to think about, obviously, in case something else happens and you miss it. But yeah, quite. So that must be quite a draining experience, the 90 minutes. Obviously not as tiring as it is for the players that are running, 12k. But
no, it is. You have to concentrate, and you obviously can't get stuff back again. The last game at Highbury, when Thierry knelt down and kissed the pitch, I was in prime position, and the steward stood up in front of me and completely blocked it. And he turned around and said, "Oh, I'm really sorry." I was like, oh, that's not gonna help me get the picture back. So I won't say what I said to him.
No, I've got no idea here, Stu. I got to be honest. What's going on? I mean, I don't think we played Ronald McDonald, or McDonald 11. But talk us through this.
So this is obviously our tours are really different now. But this was back. I think this was 2003. I think we just go to Austria and maybe go over the border to Hungary and play pre-season games. And they were in these lovely little villages, so welcoming. There were such great experiences. And then I don't think the players really knew what was going on. So certainly walked out onto the pitch, and then Ronald McDonald comes out to kick the game off with Dennis. I'm not even sure if Arsene knew what was going on. But it was lovely. It was lovely times because it was such a sort of laid-back tour, whereas now obviously the tours are huge now. But it was just a funny moment. I don't think Dennis really knew what was going on. It's one of those games, I think we won it about 10 or 12-0. Bit of an unusual one, but I think people have seen it.
So is this from a North London derby, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And how did that get there?
I think it was Gabriel Martinelli, I think. And my pictures were terrible from that day. And then I saw the scarf go up and thought, actually, that's probably my best picture I'll get, and it's of a flag hanging off a camera from the day. So it doesn't say much about my pictures from the day. But I just think it's just a nice moment. I think you can read into it a few different scenarios about the meaning of it. But
yeah, absolutely.
It was just a bit of an unusual picture.
The colours of it are very striking, aren't they? Yeah. Did they get it down?
Still up there, isn't it?
Very famous image.
I was still annoyed that he didn't look at me.
Who was he looking at?
I was too scared to say.
Were you in a huddle here? Was this?
No, so this was after, and then he was. I don't even know why he put his arms. I think he might put his arms up for me, but this was after all the celebrations, and he was just walking off the pitch, and I was obviously very privileged because I could go on the pitch then where all the other photographers had to stay off pitch, so I could wander around. And then I didn't really think anything of it until we eventually got back to the office and processed the film and saw that he had the arse and nose, which is a great bit of luck. I'm not saying it's not great photographic skills, but
I was going to give you credit for framing this, Stuart. No, I thought that was genius framing.
The funny thing is, if you look along to the right, you can see David Price there, who's my other photographer, not taking a picture. So as much as I love this picture, as much as he hates it. Yeah, but it was a unbelievable day.
Yeah, you must have realised at the time that this is epic. This is monumental.
Well, you're just working, so you don't get carried on in the emotion until the game finishes.
Right. Okay.
It's just like, have we won it? Have we won it? It's like, have we won it? Thierry says we've won it, so we've won it. You don't really get carried up in the emotion. And for us then, because you only see your pictures when you get back to the office, you're always a little bit worried about what you've got. It's only really when you look at what you've got that you can start to feel happy. Because we could have won the league, I'd had a terrible set of pictures, and I wouldn't have been happy. But I got lucky.
On that, obviously, if you have a bad game as a player, it can sort of just live with you. It stays with you a little bit. You might not sleep that well. You probably need to have a couple of good training sessions. Wait for the next game so you can put things right. Do you get that? Do you feel like you have form, as in, I'm on fire at the moment, or I've had enough day? Yeah. Just curious.
You start the season and you're always a bit rusty, and you do the pre-season friendlies and your reactions are slow.
Right.
Because the games have got no real great atmosphere to them.
So you have to get match fit?
Yeah, you do get match fit. And then, so Porto at Emirates, the penalty shootout, I had the worst shoot I had for about 4 or 5 seasons. I was in the wrong place for everything, looking at the wrong things. and you beat yourself up about it. Obviously, everyone's going mad after the game after winning. I'm sitting in the office thinking, oh, God, just throw these cameras in the bin.
What about this gaffer? What was your relationship like with him?
It was, he was absolutely brilliant. And then we'd have probably one conversation per season, which is at the start of the season when I'd ask him if I could cover training, and that was it. And then that would be it. And then latterly he would be, because I used to go to the Glastonbury Festival every year, so every pre-season the first thing he'd say to me was, "Stuart, how was Glastonbury?" He couldn't quite get his head around all these people sleeping in tents. So this is every year for 10 or 12 years we'd have a 10-minute chat about Glastonbury. Because I really think he wanted to go. But obviously,
maybe he was angling for the invite for next year.
I don't think
you'd have got away with
it. My behaviour. But he, at the end of his last season, we spent quite a lot of time together, and he was chatting about families, and I was just about to have a new baby, and he was talking about the importance of his children, and it was really nice conversations. He's a great guy and very funny. He's the boss.
Yes, yeah.
Was the boss.
Definitely, yeah, absolute ledge. Also got rid of me, rightly so.
So just a nice action picture. I just thought it was quite funny with all the Brighton players.
It's carnage, isn't it, basically?
Yeah. There's nothing really much to say, but it's just quite a nice picture.
No, it is a nice picture because you see it's the contrasting emotions, isn't it? The Arsenal players and then the sort of desolation of the Brighton guys on the deck.
And I think a lot of photographers as well, if you look at the back of the newspapers, if someone scores a goal, it's just basically just a player waist up. You don't get any context of where they are. Sometimes you wouldn't even know they're playing on grass. So I try to shoot stuff quite wide so you can get a bit of atmosphere and a bit of context. So the players on the ground is quite...
Yeah, and it was a big win, wasn't it, at the time? Obviously, we were banging the title race. Can I ask you, because obviously you're not there, you're not in the dressing room all the time, but you're in and around the place. Can I ask you the difference between the run in this season and the run in the previous season? Because they were very different outcomes. Obviously, it's the same outcome in the end, but we performed significantly better this time around. Did you sense any change of mood, a bit more confidence, more relaxedness? I'm just curious to know what your take on it might be.
I just think from the outside, I think we all saw it had a lot of injuries at the end of the previous season. But can't say. I honestly thought we'd win every game. I did think we'd win every game. Whether that's the confidence I have in the team, but I think most of us thought we were going to win every game. But unfortunately, Man City won every game.
Yeah, it was painful, wasn't it? But
painful, but we will win it, and we're getting better, and we're closer.
There seems to be. I mean, you've been in the privileged position to see title-winning Arsenal teams and this team from the outside looking in. And I'm a little bit on the outside, a little bit closer than some, but looking in on the outside, we're beginning to find that aura. Yeah. Do you sense that?
Well, I shoot training quite a bit, and you look at them and you think, my God, this is a good team. Yeah. And when you see them walk out, when you see them play, I mean, they are. Personally, my own opinion is they are as closest to the Invincibles as we've had in that amount of time. Yeah,
it's hard, isn't it? It's hard to gauge how good that team is compared to that team when there's such a gap in between. But I do think training tells you plenty, doesn't it? Especially the attitude of the players as well, the camaraderie, the laughs, the sort of how physical it can be.
Just a good. They're just a great group. I'm so lucky, privileged to be around them. Like all of us who work at the training ground, they are a great group with great staff around them as well.
Yeah. It's not just the Mikel show, is it?
No, it's from top to bottom. Yeah, top to bottom. It's great place to be.
More like a family, would you say, than the team? Because we talk a lot about family, don't we, in the context of football, in the context of Arsenal, and on our, on the Breakdown Live, I've found myself using that term quite a lot in the last couple of years. You're sort of part of the extended family.
Yeah, I can only say from my perspective, and I'm welcomed by everyone. Yeah, and I'm sure that's the same with a lot of people at the football club. Yeah. And I think there's definitely, at the end of the season we did, I don't know if people in the state, in the last 2 seasons we've done all the players' families have come down. We've done a mass group picture in front of as a memory for all the players and staff. And I think we had 200 people in it last year. We had 300 in it this year. And it's difficult to organise when you're on a ladder without a megaphone. But I think those sorts of things are really nice moments. And the players, as you see, the players and their families stayed on the pitch for maybe an hour after the game.
Yeah.
You know, they obviously want to be there. If they didn't want to be there, they'd be straight out the door. So it's a great atmosphere. Even after the last game, after we hadn't won the league, families, kids are playing football on the pitch. It was a really nice way to say goodbye to people until pre-season.
Yeah, no, really good place, no doubt about it. Right, let's flick to the next one.
A bit cheeky.
So yeah, I'm guessing you've done a quick 180-degree turn here to.
Well, I sit in quite a good part of the ground in the second half, which is the north.
So do you have to run at a place, or have you got like a spot that's like Stuart MacFarlane? No one else can sit here.
No, we can move around. We can move around a bit, but generally a lot of the celebrations happen in that corner, and it's a lot of the time the players come and bundle in with the fans.
Yeah.
But it's rare that you get a single player, especially getting his bum squeezed by a fan. I just thought it's quite a
little caress,
picture.
Isn't it, on the derriere there? Yeah.
But I think everyone had run away, and he was caught in the moment with the fans.
Right, and he kind of got locked in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, what a signing he's been, by the way.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's good.
Yeah. He seems quiet. Is he quiet, or is he?
He's probably within the group. He probably isn't, but
okay. Yeah.
But I chat to him like I chat to all of them.
Yeah.
But I couldn't really say really. You just.
Yeah.
He's young, isn't he? You forget how young. He probably thinks, do I need to talk to a 57-year-old photographer? What have we got in common apart from
never 57? So you're not having that. On goal celebrations, though, do they ever come to you? Like, do you think that on occasion they've angled for it?
So all the other photographers have to sit behind the board. So I sit in front of the boards.
Okay.
I don't have a go. Hello, I'm here. But a lot of the player boxes.
I would.
A lot of the player boxes are above my head. So generally, I don't think the players. I think they're so caught in the moment that they don't think about. Because sometimes when they run the other way, I'm like, your box is here, man. You should be coming this way, not going that way.
Well, TV cameras are bigger as well, so you can see that, and you can run. Because a lot of players run towards the TV camera. I suppose you're a little bit smaller, but yeah, I think on occasion they've done that, haven't they?
Yeah, I don't know.
And do you get a text on the way home saying, "Did you get anything good today?"
We do get a few messages, but we've got how we work now. All our pictures go onto an app that goes directly to them.
Ah, okay.
But then just a couple of the players will, have you got more? Have you got this? And it's like, you can't be everywhere. But nothing's really my choice. We have a big editorial team who just look at what are the best pictures. So we leave it to them. Obviously, as I said earlier, when Arsene was there, I would ask at the start of the season about covering training. I've never been told to stay away or anything, but I think I'm conscious of the mood. So I wouldn't go in laughing and joking in the training session after we've got beaten the day before. So no, not really. Not the club. My axis is probably unique within the club. Was for a number of years, but now there's more of us working now. Our video guys get more or less the same access as I do, but it's just accepted now that we're there. We're part of the same club, part of the same family.
Brilliant. Right, let's see the next one. Now, I'm envious of you here because this is pretty cool. This is the first match of the season just gone, isn't it?
Yeah.
Against Nottingham Forest, the little team talk huddle. You're there. I don't know how you got in. I mean, did you bash someone out of the way to get in there? Did you go through someone's legs? What's the story here?
Well, what you try to avoid is the steady cam, so you don't get on TV looking like an idiot. But I've seen it shot a couple of times in other sports and thought, can I get away with it? No, surely no one's watching. Yeah, it's a lovely picture. I'm really proud of it, but you can only do it maybe once or twice a season. But it's funny. You don't listen to. Obviously, the music's going on, Martin shouting, but you don't. I don't ever listen to what's being said. You put your camera through and then bash someone's leg, and they look down at you, and then they just look up. I think it just shows that they accept that I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
I try not to push it to the limit. I wouldn't be there. As soon as I'll go in, I'll shoot maybe 20 or 30 frames blind. So you hold your camera down, wave it around a little bit, shoot a few frames, and then you get out. So you're not there when they break, so you're not in the way. So when they break, you don't want to be anywhere near them in case they walk into you. So you try and stay in the background as much as you can. There's no point doing it if it's going to be a terrible picture. So make sure you get a good picture, but make sure you're not there for too long that you're going to upset people. Yeah. And every time I walk off the pitch and see if Mikel's looking at me. So I think if he's looking at me, then I've annoyed him. But he's got more important things to think about.
Yeah. It just seems like you have a pretty cool relationship with him, though. Yeah.
I'm lucky because he was there as a player.
Yeah.
So that relationship is.
What a moment. Yeah.
Another one where I didn't even have to press the button on the camera. This is lucky because this is one of the digital cameras which you can shoot 5,000 frames, not like the earlier one which only got 36 pictures. So you can have this on your camera for the whole of the game. So it's obviously Reece Nelson's goal celebration, but I think apart from team photos, I don't think I've ever got all 11 players in one picture during a game. And this is the only frame. There's about 50 frames of it.
No, really?
Because obviously William goes off to kick a flag that nearly garroted me. And then Aaron just came in.
Yeah, he's made up the ground pretty quick there, Aaron.
But it was such a massively unexpected picture, which is why I love it. Because after the game, it was such a crazy end to the game. I'm sure you were all there. And then climbing up into the stands, retrieving the camera, thinking it probably didn't fire again, then going through, right, let's picture 1,000, and then coming across the first one where there's about 10 players, right. And then finally finding, I think it took me a couple of hours to go through everything to find that one. Yeah. It's just, I don't know what to say about it. I just love it. It's a shame it wasn't against Spurs or Man United but
there's probably a few of us in the room that lost it in a similar manner.
Yeah, do you know what, I didn't. No. I was just like, right, okay, can't.
What we got next?
There we go. And there it is.
I mean, I don't know what's wrong with it.
It's a good picture, that, isn't it?
You got to tell us what was this? Was it just impromptu? Because Martin, I thought it was incredibly unfair. We were getting stick for it. I hate this modern thing where people just mock you for having a good time. It's mad.
I think we love football because you can jump up and down and be crazy, can't you? Well, you can't do it in your workplace, maybe. Well, some of you can, maybe. But yeah, I don't. I was on the pitch. Martin walked round and he was saying something to me, and I don't. What are you doing? He said, "Give me your camera," and I was like, "No, not in front of all these people." But then the captain says, and then I didn't tell him how to use it, which is good, isn't it?
So what's he done wrong? I mean, you don't look to be entirely in focus.
No, so our cameras are. If you've got a camera, when you press the button, the shutter button, it goes in focus. But we've got. It's called back button focusing, so there's a different button to focus. It gives you more control of the camera. And obviously, I wasn't going to tell him how to do that because he's brilliant at most things.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
he can't start showing me up as a photographer.
So you deliberately sabotaged it? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I just didn't. I just didn't tell him how to use it.
But how do you get on with the skipper? He seems like a lovely guy.
I think that everyone who works with him, he's just unbelievable captain and just a great person as well. We've got quite a few of them, though. We're very lucky. We're very blessed.
Yeah, I must admit, I never thought of him being a captain, but now he is the captain. It's perfect.
I think he's quite similar to Mikel, as in such a professional that maybe that was the reason that Mikel gave him.
Okay, yeah. No, he's a brilliant player.
He's not bad, is he? worth 30 million?
I think so. What do you reckon? Yeah, I think so. That's it, isn't it?
Thank you. Anyone asleep at the back?